Hi, welcome to ShopTalk. I'm Jennifer Lynch.
And I'm Jim Silver. And today we have Ben Kaufman, CEO and co-founder of Camp New York City. Ben, welcome to ShopTalk.
Hi.
So you were BuzzFeed, and now you started a retail store. I mean, how? Why?
What's the evolution here?
Yes, thank you, Jen.
Why are you so surprised that I started a retail store?
Well,
Isn't that what we're supposed to do? It's a shop talk.
That's right, but we're in the world of digital, and you created a store that's very different.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been a vendor to retailers my entire life. It seems like my entire life. Grew up. My mom built retail fixtures for a living, so I was always around merchandising. And then started a product company very early on in my career, and started selling all the big box stores, and did that for about 12 years before I joined BuzzFeed and started working on kind of merging content and commerce in the world of publishing and media. And it was about a year ago this week actually, that I was at the licensing show in Las Vegas. Yep. And talking to a bunch of the folks in the toy industry. This was months after the death of Toys R Us, and I was just listening to how toy people were talking about their industry and how they were thinking about it moving forward. And it kind of struck me at the time. By the way, I had a kid that had just turned 1 and I was looking for things to do. So all of these things were converging. It felt like there was a void in toy retail. It felt as though I needed something to do with my 1-year-old child. And at the same time, I had watched, through my work at BuzzFeed, the evolution of how brands were paying for experiential marketing, how retailers were trying to become more agile, and it was very clear to me that no one was going to start a modern retail chain. It's been about 30 years since the last multi-brand national retail chain started. I think it was Container Store in the 1980s.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I've been saying this to people for a year and no one's told me I'm wrong. So all of these things converged, I was like, I gotta do this. We have to do this. So I called Nikki, my wife, my co-founder, in Camp, and I was like, we're gonna start a toy chain.
What was her reaction?
This was June 1st of last year. So what was her reaction? Her reaction was, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been around me for a long time, so she knows the drill. Every now and then, you gotta go do something.
So what kind of experience did you have working with big box retailers in the past that you kind of learned from and knew going into this that you did not want to do?
I know the pains of being a vendor,
okay.
Which is something that too few people that work in retail have felt. Mm-hmm. A normal career track for someone in retail is you start on the retail side and then you go to the vendor side and you're like, oh my God, I was such a horrible person when I was a retailer. Like, these poor companies are struggling because of the actions that I take. So I did the opposite, right? I started as a vendor. I know the pain of selling into retail, mm-hmm. getting a product, getting a story told around a product, which is something that matters so much in this industry, right. More so than any other industry. These products have stories, they have backgrounds and so on. You can only do so much in a box. Mm-hmm. And then generally realized how slow retailers were to respond to trends. So in a prior life, I built a lot of consumer products very quickly, and the fact that you takes 18, 24 months to get on the retail shelves meant that customers weren't kind of benefiting from the speed in which products could be developed. So all of these things played into the start of Camp.
Yeah.
When I visited Camp the first time, it was unlike any store I've ever been in. Can we talk about some of the experiences and what you'll find in the back room of Camp? Because
the back room
because
super creepy.
Well, it's a little mystical because I walked in and I said, "This is the store," and they said, "No, you have to come into the back."
They told you that?
Yes.
Okay, it's interesting. You don't usually tell people that.
I had the same experience.
Really?
They
guided you towards the magic
door. They
door.
asked me if I'd ever been in Camp before, and then they were like, "Well, come and help me open the hidden wall."
Nice. And you get a big wow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about, because most people haven't been to the store.
Yeah, so Camp is 10,000 square feet. and the space is broken up into two distinct areas. The front of the store is about 2,000 square feet, a little less. And it's set up like an old school general store. The inspiration behind it was kind of like, I grew up going up to Vermont, and there was always a store called the Vermont Country Store, which was like an old school general store with a little bit of everything. And so the front of the store is just like that: toys, gifts, apparel. It's felt to feel like it was there for 100 years.
And great food.
And yes, we do have a cafe with
Yes,
a bar. Yes. And then there's a secret, which you've already given away, which is there's a magic door, and you push the magic door open, and it's a portal into a themed world that changes every 8 to 12 weeks. So those are our camp experiences. So behind the magic door at camp, you enter through a tunnel where we transition you from the hustle and bustle of Fifth Avenue into a themed world. Our first experience was Base Camp, which was a nostalgic New England summer camp. And now we have Cooking Camp, which is the world of food.
So how did you come up with the idea to have like this secret door? Did it kind of like come from the old school bookshelves, like where it's like, oh, there's like a secret pathway that way, or where'd that idea come from?
Well, magic doors are cool. I mean, that's basic.
Come on, when you walk through, it was pretty cool.
Well, I even think about like secret bars and stuff in New York, and like having to go through
speakeasies. I mean, so there's both a storytelling and theatrical reason for it, and then there's actually a practical business reason for it. So I'll give you like the how the sausage is made reasoning, but the theatrical reasoning is of course when kids open that magic door and they realize that there's a whole lot more, and the fact that sometimes they push the magic door and there's an entirely new store back there. Imagine being 2 or 3 years old or 4 years old and going through that experience, and you're like, how did that just happen? This is the same place I go to every week, and it's a completely new store. So that magic is, of course, something we wanted, but the practical business reason for the magic door being there is it takes us 2 or 3 days to turn over the set.
Yeah.
So we go from one theme to another, but we're able to keep the store open and operating, but just not let people through the magic door. So the store is always open regardless of the day of the week, or whether or not we're in transition in the theme, and we can seamlessly change over the sets.
So where did the themes come from? You mentioned like staying on top of trends. I know that in the toy industry right now, food and cooking and stuff is actually a really big trend happening for the toy industry. Is that something that played into it in terms of toyetic and offerings?
Absolutely. So there's two ways in which we build themed experiences. This also comes out of the world of publishing and out of the world of media, where I have spent the last few years with BuzzFeed. So there are both editorial themed experiences, and there are branded experiences, sponsored experiences. Editorial themed experiences are such that we as merchants think that food's on trend, or that kids would have a lot of fun. And
well, tasty. I mean, that's a
sure. And these editorial trends are very similar to how any publisher would think of what's happening in the world. So food is an obvious frame. Travel would be an obvious frame, etc.
Got it.
So those would be the editorial themes, and even within those editorial themes, we do have brand integrations, kind of product placement, and so on. And then there are branded experiences where you can imagine a studio with intellectual property, or a brand looking to kind of immerse kids or families in their world, could take over the entire space for a themed experience. Those are basically the two ways that themes come about.
How often are you going to change themes within the store?
Probably every 12 weeks or so, like once a quarter, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more frequently. We're 6 months into this, so I'm not gonna purport to having everything figured out. But the general plan is 4 to 5 times a year per location.
Gotcha. So I noticed that for the cooking camp, one of the sponsors is Miracle Grow, which you have. Oh, Scott's Miracle Grow. Yeah, and you've worked with them before at BuzzFeed. Is that correct?
That is correct. You've done your research. Yes.
So are we going to see more of those kinds of cross partnerships that coming over from brands you've worked with in the past?
Perhaps. The sales team at BuzzFeed that talks to brands every day is able to sell sponsorships and integrations into Camp.
Okay.
It's part of
Oh,
the commercial arrangement between BuzzFeed and Camp.
Got it.
Even though Camp is an independent company with its own investors and so on. But BuzzFeed's sales team can sell sponsorships at Camp, so that is sometimes why you see some overlap.
Got it.
Now, we've discussed the merchandise in the store, and as I was going through the store, you have some hot items, but you're trying to have more specialty type items. What is your strategy come from you for the merchandise that you'll be carrying? And so for people who haven't been there, about how many SKUs are you carrying in store?
There's about 2,000 SKUs in the store.
Okay.
And sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. The beauty of our model is that we change the merchandise mix with each thematic season that comes through. So, a normal retailer would change their assortment seasonally. We change our assortment seasonally, right? So we have, coming into the store this week, we have a Father's Day statement setting, we have a Pride and Rainbow set setting, but then we also change it with the editorial thematic frames that we come up with as well. So we have that third dimension that adds a lot of flavor. Now, in terms of the mix of merchandise, we have a good combination of things that are like tried and true, great giftable items, great items for a lot of different age groups. But then we also do a lot of storytelling, right? So in our current statement in Cooking Camp, it starts at the farm, so there's a lot of food-related, plant-related items in the farm, and then you go to transportation, where you have a lot of cars and trucks and vehicles and sorting, so you have a lot of STEM and things like this. So we're telling that story throughout the entire journey, and that's what sets the merchandise frames. It's less about these are things for male 4-year-olds and these are things for female 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
We don't merchandise like that. We merchandise through the story, but we do try and make sure that every demographic is covered through the assortment.
Something that just came to me, and I think I noticed this. So when a parent brings a child to the store, how long are they spending there?
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
That's our average dwell time is an hour and a half.
Well, there's a lot of interactive experiences.
Yes.
That's
kind
the
of.
least impressive thing to me.
Okay.
Like of course we developed this amazing in-store experience.
Well, that is
People are
impressive.
gonna stay. It's impressive for a retailer.
Right.
But to me, it's kind of table stakes. Like we need to keep them in and get them coming in. The thing that's most impressive to me, and the thing that we're most proud of, is that 35% of our transactions already 6 months in, right, are from returning customers.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So people are coming back and back and back and back and spending, time at camp 3 times a week, 2-3 times a week at a toy store. That's insane.
Do you think it's because you do have so many other activities that you offer in addition?
The programming does play a part in it, but the fact that we're like a free indoor climate-controlled play space with toys everywhere and coffee for the adults and soon to be beer and wine for adults, hopefully.
Nice.
So the fact that we are a place to go, and that is the first thing we are. We are a place to go with your family.
Yeah.
The second thing we are is a store that sells things. That's the key driver of driving the loyalty, I think.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about that you're a free place to go. It's free for consumers, but you also have clubs or memberships?
We have a membership, yeah.
Membership.
So camp's free. Anyone can come in. We do have a membership program, which gets folks like kind of a whole nother layer on the experience. So one thing we learned early on is the stores get very crowded on the weekends and Fridays, and local families don't want to necessarily be around the crowds. So we have member-only hours. So members who do subscribe to our membership program, have member-only hours. Members also get free activities in the back of the store. There's a registry program now for kids where it's an online registry where grandparents and friends can see what kids are signing up for in the store. Kids' birthdays are celebrated in the store if they're members, and so on.
So besides the experiences in store, you also have shows, or so to speak, events.
We do. We have programming throughout the day,
program.
about 3 or 4 events a day.
Can you give examples of some of the programming?
Yeah, I was at the store this morning, and there was 10:15 a.m. members toddler yoga.
Yes.
Toddler yoga?
Toddler yoga. Yeah, we have a.
Okay, what else do you have that you would not find in a typical store?
Yeah. We have music breaks throughout the day with great musicians for the families. We do classes where we make slime and all sorts of things that are on trend.
I think you have magic?
We do have magic shows
Yes.
a few times a month. We have, let's see, what's another fun? Oh, we have date night drop-offs. So
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's
Date night
amazing.
drop-off?
Yeah, you can bring your kid at 6. We'll feed them pizza, macaroni and cheese. You leave. When the store closes at 7, they have free reign around the store. They have fun with our counselors, and then you come pick up your kid at 9 o'clock, and then take them home.
Oh, I'd imagine that's really popular.
That is a popular offering. We're doing all sorts of stuff like this to make use of the space. I mean, one of the things that obviously happens in these store environments is, you do the majority of your sales in 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, right? The rest of the day, you're trying to figure out like what's going on. How do I make use of this? I mean, I'm paying rent 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So we pack out the morning with morning programming for younger kids and caregivers and parents. We pack out the older stuff past school time. We have nighttime events for parents and so on. So we're trying to fill all the day parts with something to do with your family. We don't talk about ourselves as a toy store. We talk about ourselves as a family experience store,
Right.
delivering experience for the entire family.
Well, you also have different streams of revenue that you're getting from this space too. I mean, you have the milk bar there, you have the general store, then you have
Yep.
these memberships too.
Sure.
So you aren't really a traditional toy store.
Yeah, no, I would say we're more of a general merchandise retailer with a focus on the family.
Gotcha.
We sell apparel, we sell gifts for adults. We're all over the board.
Now, right now with Camp New York, I've been down there multiple times, always very crowded, but you're looking to expand to the rest of the country. Can you talk a little bit about the expansion plans?
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna be opening up at least 4 more stores this year before Christmas. We have Brooklyn opening
Okay.
up. So we're City Point in Brooklyn. And then I have to figure out the right way to talk about their other stores.
East Coast,
we're
West
opening.
Coast?
Yeah, we're opening one in Connecticut.
Okay.
So still regional New York. We are opening in Texas as well, and we will also be opening one other Manhattan store on the upper
areas.
Upper area. That's
upper
right.
left or right.
Upper left to right. That's okay.
One of the uppers.
Is the vision a 20-store chain,
We want to
50
build a
store?
national retail chain
Oh,
straight away. We want to build a national retail chain. This is
how big is
not
the
a
vision? I know
small-
national, but 100, 200, or
As many as the world supports. I mean, anyone can answer that question with
Right.
a fake response. We will build as many stores as the world will fill
as much as the world wants.
as much as consumer demand allows. We think that having a place to go with your family is a universal demand. We think that these products are bought regardless of channel, right? They're either being bought in a store, or they're being bought online, and so on. And we believe that if you have people there and you show them the products and you tell the product story, we can complete the transaction within our 4 walls. We think Camp's a really dope brand name, and we think the activities that we have in the store, giving people a reason to come back, a lot, just kind of further reinforces the need. So we want to build a lot of them.
So one more question that I had is about the online experience. Obviously, though, people are shopping online. You mentioned it briefly, talking about the gift registry.
Yeah.
What other plans do you have in terms of a online presence, especially coming from a BuzzFeed background? You understand the importance of that.
We're not crazy. We're going to sell stuff on the internet. My approach is going to likely be exclusive product.
Okay.
So things that you can only buy from Camp. Registry, so intent-driven kind of purchase experiences. And then lastly, to fill gifting moments with kind of the right stuff. And then as the brand is built up more and we become the place to go for this type of stuff, that will then give us the right to sell more general merchandise. But to start, it's going to be things that make us uniquely us as Camp.
I saw that recently you had described retailers trying to be media companies and media companies becoming retailers.
Yes, sounds right.
Can you explain that a little bit and what you're kind of seeing in terms of the changing landscape there?
Yeah, I think basically media companies want to become retailers because they realize that the only, relying solely on advertising dollars means you kind of play this middle ground of attention and kind of the economy around attention. And so they're trying to get closer to the transaction. That's been the basis of my work at BuzzFeed for the last 3 years. So I'm saying it in a self-aware way. And then the other side, retailers trying to be media companies. I mean, this is clear, right? Amazon has a studio. Walmart is making content. Like this is clear because they realize that they're spending so much of their budget getting attention.
Right.
So it's basically both sides saying, the value of this is really in the customer, having the attention of the customer so that when it is transaction time, you're the one to take their card. And so it's a kind of a natural meeting in the middle, I think. And some people are doing it well, and others are getting their sea legs.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me, at least in the toy industry, how entertainment companies want to become toy companies, and toy companies are going the other way and becoming more entertainment companies.
Yeah, it's everyone thinks there's greener grass on the other side, right? But the answer is likely that everyone needs to be everything. I know that's not what business people say. People say you have to be like this or that. Pick a side. You can't.
But
do everything.
These days, you kind
of have to.
be.
You have to have a good blend.
I like to say we're in the children's entertainment business or the family entertainment business. We're out there to entertain families, kids of all ages.
Absolutely.
Ben, thank you for joining us at ShopTalk.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And if you want to see more episodes of ShopTalk, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check us out there.